Then the almond drove to the gardener's house. He had just sat down to supper with his family. He was not too pleased when the two visitors arrived with their mysterious request. "I'm sorry," he said, "but I can't send laborers out so late at night and so far. If tomorrow will do, then I am at your service." There was only one thing to do, and that was to tell the gardener the whole story about the unlucky spot. At first, he listened without much interest, but when Vera reached the point when she had thought to plant the bushes, he took more notice and smiled. "Well, there is nothing else to be done," he said when she had finished. "What kind of bushes do you want to plant?" They decided on a clump of lilac. Almasov tried to persuade Vera to return home, but she was determined to accompany him. She only went home when she was quite sure that the new bushes could not be distinguished from the rest.
Here, the author introduces one more minor character. He is a gardener. Now, Kolya and Vera go to the gardener to buy the clump of bushes. When they reach there, they find the gardener having supper with his family because it is night. Looking at this, two visitors, that is Kolya and Vera, gardener is a bit angry. Usually people come to buy the plants during the day, but they have come at night. And then they request for the plants to be given at first. The gardener refuses to give, so they tell the truth. They narrated the whole story about the spot and told him that they want to plant the bushes. There is no any other way. And then only he felt pity for them and provided them a clump of lilac. Gardener has given the plants to them. They should go happily and plant them. But Kolya still does not want to go that place. He wants to return home. But Vera doesn't. She makes him understand. She is so firm in her decision. She tells him, unless and until we plant the clump of lilac where they are supposed to be, we shall not return home tonight. Now, let us see what happens the following day.
On the following day, Vera could not sit at home and went out to meet her husband. When he was still some way off, she noticed his vigorous walk and knew that the story of the bush had ended happily. In fact, although Almasov was covered with dust and overcome with fatigue, his face shone with victory.
The following morning, Kolya and Professor go to see the place. Interestingly, the professor finds that there are clump of bushes as it is in the map. Vera waits for her husband to return. She can't sit at home and therefore she just goes out to see her husband, whether he is coming back or not. As she goes out of her house, she sees her husband coming back and she can make out the happiness by his walk. Kolya walks vigorously. Here, vigorously means very actively. Kolya is really very glad the next morning because he has won. He got victory. He was looking very tired. He was looking very fatigued. Fatigue means tired, very tired. Now his tiredness, his fatigue is gone as he has got victory.
It was fine, he called out in answer to his wife's anxious look. We got to the clump of bushes and the professor looked and looked and even tore a leaf off and bit it. What kind of plant is this? He asked. I don't know, Your Excellency, I said. Then he turned to me and extended his hand. I am sorry, Ensign. I must be getting old to have forgotten these bushes.
So here, as Kolya reaches home, he begins to tell his wife what the professor has said there. Vera, his wife, listens to him with interest. He tells her the professor was very sorry for the rejection of the map. And he told me, he extended his hand and told me, perhaps he is getting old and he has forgotten the bushes which are here.
He is a nice old man and very clever. It seems a shame to have deceived him. He is one of our best professors. His knowledge is simply wonderful and he is marvelous with maps and plans. But it was not enough for Vera to hear the story once. She made her husband tell it again and again, making sure he left out none of the details.
Kolya continues to tell his wife about the professor. Now he praises him. He tells her, the professor is very clever man. I am ashamed to deceive him. I'm sorry. I feel ashamed that I have cheated him. He is the best professor. His knowledge is simply wonderful. He is an expert, well versed with map and plans.
Almasov had never dined with such appetite as on that day. After dinner, when Vera went into her husband's study with a glass of tea, husband and wife burst out laughing at the same time and looked at each other. Why are you laughing? Vera asked. And why are you? Tell me first, and I'll tell you afterwards. Oh, it was only nonsense. I was thinking about the lilac bush. And you? I too was thinking of the little bush. Lilac will always be my favorite flower now.
Almasov was very happy on that day, and he had his supper more. Here, dined means had the dinner, and appetite means desire for food. So on that day, Kolya ate his supper happily. After dinner, as Vera goes to serve tea to her husband Kolya, they both laugh and laugh, and they look at each other. They laugh because both of them think of the lilac bush. And Vera tells her husband that the lilac will be my favorite flower now.